Nothing pains me more than when I see an overcooked scallop or an anemic looking scallop, especially here on the East Coast. So today, I'm actually going to show you how to perfectly sear that scallop, and on top of that, we're going to serve it with a simple and easy asparagus risotto. So the star of the show is the scallop. Scallop?
Scallop.
Scallop? Scallop?
I say scallop.
You say scallop. I say scallop. I think I used to say scallop because I'm originally from Quebec. So I think it was like scallops for dinner. So I'm going to show you a few foolproof ways that you can get that beautiful sear on a scallop and that it's not like a rubbery, overcooked one. And then we're going to make a really easy risotto because a lot of us, I think, are really scared of risotto. Are you scared of risotto, Doug?
I used to be, but then I've seen you make it so many times and I realized that it's not that hard.
So we've got like a beautiful Arborio rice, we've got asparagus because we're going to do an asparagus risotto, some shallots, and a beautiful white wine from Nova Scotia that we're going to use to deglaze with.
Not everyone knows that Nova Scotia has an amazing wine industry. And the beautiful thing about our wines is that they pair incredibly well with all of our seafood. First,
we're going to do the risotto, and then I'm going to show you my tricks to get those perfectly seared scallops. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get our risotto started. Now, risotto is something that a lot of us are really scared of, but you shouldn't be. It's really hard to mess up, and you know what? You can always fix it. So I've got my pan heating up. I'm just going to add some butter. I'm just going to melt it. We're using this beautiful, like, pearly rice, Arborio rice, which is beautiful.
And you can get this in most grocery stores.
You can get this in every grocery store. So my butter is melting. I'm going to add my shallots, and honestly, I just thinly slice them. So I'm just going to get these sort of sweating. You want to sweat them. You don't want to brown them. You just want to sweat them. Saute. And I grab my salt, which I always forget.
But with risotto, though, it's a very rustic sort of humble dish. So it's not like a fine dining dish that some people might think. Like its roots are very much like a peasant, rustic kind of dish.
That is true. I mean, I do it here at home sometimes for the kids, and we'll throw like peas in there, or if you're starting, you can do like garlic and bacon, like just a cheesy risotto, even at that for the kids. Like it's something that they all love. Now that my shallots are just like sauteing, I did season them with a little bit of salt. When you're making something, season as you go because it builds the flavors as opposed to just adding a bunch of salt at the very end and it sort of gives it that like horrible salty. I'm going to just add some of my rice. And then I just want to saute it with my butter and my shallots. You basically want to saute it until it sort of turns translucent, which only takes about a minute. And again, you don't want to brown it, you don't want to burn it. This is where you're showing it the attention and the love that it needs. And you'll see that the edges start to turn like translucent, transparent, and that's when you know that it's time to deglaze. So I'm going to add some Tidal Bay, but first I'm just going to have to make sure that it's okay.
Yeah, just do a quality check there.
Just a quality check. I mean, I know it's like early in the day, but it's very nice. So I'm just going to do enough to deglaze. Now, once the alcohol is burned off, and you can see that the rice is starting to like take in some of that liquid, I'm going to slowly start adding ladleful by ladleful my vegetable stock that is warm. So I'm going to add my few ladlefuls here. Maybe I'll do like 2 ladlefuls. And this is the part that I think scares people. It's like, how much is too much? How much is too little? Just use your gut, honestly, because that's what cooking's all about. So I'm going to keep adding my liquid for about the next 10 to 15 minutes. And every time that my rice sort of like absorbs it all, that's when I want to add more. You don't want to let it get too dry. All right, so I've been cooking this and adding broth and cooking this and adding broth for about like 10-15 minutes. I don't know if you can tell, it's really actually nice and creamy, and that's what you want. You want like the beautiful creaminess of a risotto. I'm going to taste it. So you want it to be al dente, and al dente is like to the tooth. So a tiny bit of crunch, but not so much crunch that you'll break your teeth. Spot on. Seasoning is really good. I'm going to add my asparagus. They are raw, and all I've done is just thinly slice them. because I don't want to cook them ahead of time because I actually want to add texture to the dish. The risotto is creamy, the scallops are sort of creamy and soft, so this sort of gives it a bit of a nice crunch.
Yeah, like I think you're always looking for contrasting textures, right? Like
always contrasting.
You don't want a dish that's just all soft and mushy.
No.
Or a dish that's all crunchy and hard, right?
Yeah, and because of the heat of the risotto, it's just gonna cook through the asparagus anyways. I'm gonna add in some of our Asiago that I've already grated, because I don't know about you, but I actually like mine extra cheesy. And I've actually turned off my burner, so I'm just letting the heat, the residual heat sort of like melt everything and bring everything together. And then at this point, if you wanted, you could add some beautiful herbs. You could add tarragon, you could add chervil, you could add parsley. I'm actually just gonna garnish it with chervil later on, but I'm gonna actually put some lemon zest. Hard to believe, right, Doug?
Always with the lemon zest.
Always the lemon zest. Thank God for Charlie and Jennifer of Les Fougères, because they're the ones that taught me that a little bit of citrus zest goes a very long way and brightens every dish. Asparagus and lemon zest go hand in hand.
So if you have to let this sit for a little while, how would you go about doing that and making sure that you're not overcooking it?
I'd cook it like 3/4 of the way, and I wouldn't add my cheese or my asparagus. And I would I'd put it on a tray just to let it cool evenly. And then to heat it back up, I would heat it up slowly with some of that warm stock. And then I would add my asparagus and my cheese and my lemon zest. So I'm just gonna check it for seasoning. Tastes like spring. It's gonna sit for a few minutes because those scallops are literally gonna take like 3 minutes. All right, I'm gonna set this aside and we're gonna do scallops. The thing that I always say with scallops is A, hot pan, B, make sure they're cleaned. And if you remember the chowder video, I showed you how to clean a scallop from the little foot. Make sure they're dry. So what I like to do is I actually dry them off on paper towel. Because I don't know if you've ever cooked a scallop at home and you see it like weeping, it like weeps liquid. As long as they're dry, you're gonna get a really nice sear. And then the last thing that I tell people is don't touch them. Put them in the pan, don't touch them. Don't shake the pan, don't look at them, just let them be. And usually they take about a minute on one side and about a minute to 30 seconds on the other side. And that is it. This is not a long-winded thing.
You can't really undercook a scallop.
No, because I could eat this raw right now in front of you. We actually got some beautiful, like fresh sea scallops like in the shell this week from Peter Darnell, an aficionado. And I was showing the staff how to actually shuck them to see like what it actually looks like when it comes in the shell with the roe. Still, they were pulsating. Even though we still shucked them, they were literally pulsating. So you wanna make sure that your pan is hot. I've done a little bit of salt, I'm gonna do a little bit of pepper. And the key is hot pan. Not too hot, but hot enough so that when you actually put it down, you can hear it sizzle. So I have a little bit of oil, and I've got my non-stick pan.
You want to use canola oil versus like butter or olive oil, right?
Yes, you and I were talking about this earlier. So butter, as much as it's beautiful and I love it, it will burn and you'll get those sort of like the brown flecks. Like remember when we browned the butter for the cookies?
Yes.
And then olive oil has a lower smoking point, so it will burn faster. So let's do this, Doug. Ready? Hear it?
I hear it.
I hear it. Literally, scallops take, honestly, no time. And I think that's what people are afraid of. They are afraid that they're not cooked, and then they cook them too long, and then they want to play with them, and then they want to shake the pan, and then they want to, you know, check on them. But just let them be.
Renee.
What?
Don't touch.
Don't touch them.
That's your rule. That's your rule.
So it's been about a minute, and I do have it on high heat, and I can start smelling it, and I can actually see sort of like how it's contracting. So I'm just gonna flip them. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, these better be perfect or else I'm never gonna hear the end of it. Nice color, there we go. This is how I like them, just a nice sear on the edges. So I flipped them over. I gave them about 30 seconds because that's all they need. And I'm gonna just put them here. I'm gonna just let them sit on my clean paper towel. And then we're gonna get our risotto and we're gonna put this dish together. And see how easy that was? The kitchen smells amazing. My risotto is ready to go. My scallops are seared and have a beautiful browning. Now I'm just gonna put it all together because I know that I'm hungry and I'm sure that you are too.
What about me?
Well, yeah.
I'm starving over here.
You always get to eat.
I'm like tortured.
Oh, you're
the camera,
tortured.
smelling all this beautiful
The tortured soul.
food.
Just a little bit of our risotto with the asparagus and our Asiago and lemon zest. And then our beautiful scallops. How many scallops do you want, Doug?
So we do 4 maybe.
4 for you?
Yeah.
All right. Some lovely scallops. They're nice and juicy, not overcooked, right on top. And then I always like to add just a little bit of olive oil just on top and a little Maldon salt. I'm gonna add just a little bit of this gorgeous chervil, this flowering chervil. Chervil has just a beautiful sort of like anise flavor that I really like. And that is it. A beautiful, simple dish that honestly took about 25 minutes from start to finish. Do you want a glass of wine to go with your scallops,
Yes,
Doug?
please.
All right.
Love that.
You love that. There you go. There you go, buddy.
This is a great one. I like the tidal bays. They're like
How many tidal bays are there in Nova Scotia? 21?
no,
20.
no, not even that many. I think there's maybe a dozen right now, but it's it's an amazing style of wine.
Tidal Bay usually comes out in May?
Yeah, in the spring.
In the spring.
All right,
So there you go.
I'm digging in, Renee.
You're gonna dig in.
This looks so beautiful.
I'm just gonna like eat from,
You're just gonna watch me.
well, no, I'm gonna eat from the giant pot like I would at work. But see how easy that was?
That was great, and it's honestly so delicious. It is a real taste of spring. It's very versatile too, because you can do whatever you want with your risotto.
I give you a starting point and then you do what you want. Because I've had people say, oh, I made the chowder, but I added this and I did this. Or I did the cookies, I did this.
And we love the comments, so please keep them coming because we've learned a lot from the comments. We always try our best to answer any questions that you might have.
Will Phil be back? That's the big question.
I know,
Will
everyone
Phil
loves
be back?
Well, Zoe might make an appearance to our daughter.
All right, well, you eat your risotto. The sun is outside and it's really nice out today. So I'm actually gonna go sit on our stoop. And I'm gonna finish my glass of wine.
Then we have to do some yard work.
Thanks, and we'll see you, I guess,
Next week.
next week?
Yeah.
I guess so. All right.
All the best.
See ya.